As you can tell by the video itself, this is a Marvel Rivals video. And I'm here to discuss a controversy about comments saying that the strategist role is the easiest, but also the most useless, and I want to place my thoughts into this. In my experience and perspective, each role has its own ups and downs. It's only easy or hard based on the situation. As a Vanguard, you can only do so much. As a strategist, you can only do so much. And as a duelist, you can only do so much. However, the strategist role, out of three of them, are the most important role. Without them, you're not winning. I understood with the fact that the strategist role is not the easiest role, depending on situation, especially when you're doing your best, keeping everyone alive. Meanwhile, you're trying not to get dived by Captain America or Spider-Man, or any other diver character. I will say this, the worst player you could have as a teammate, especially in a comp game, is the one who lacks the gaming sense throughout the entire match. Then had the audacity and the ego to say, GG no heals, I only made Spider-Man. Like I once played a comp game where I was a healer playing Cloak and Dagger, and what made it so hard for me and the other healer was the enemy Captain America that was basically diving onto us, which puts us in a spot where we could not heal other teammates or provide other tactical supports. I was communicating as much as I could, and I pinged the Captain America a lot of times. And when the match ended on a loss, I read the game chat, and my Squirrel Girl, who was my DPS at the time, and my Penny, who was my tank, had the audacity and ego to say, GG no heals. You can thank my support for costing us the game. My healers are garbage and trash. If you don't know how to play healer, don't play healer at all. Stay out of a comp game. Massive healing diff, 18,000 and 30,000 in comparison. When I responded, I was like, guys, I was getting dived by the enemy Captain America. I can only do so much. And then my TPS Squirrel Girl responded, yeah, you don't know how to play healer, and you're trash. These two were my teammates, by the way. Due to the fact that my teammates lacked the awareness and gaming sense and had the ego to blame me for limited performance, I was in a negative mood. Don't get me wrong, I always strive to do more and learn better, but in the end, what do I know? I even admit that I have a major aiming issue or skill issue, especially when I play as a projectile character. Like I main Penny Parker for Vanguard, and I'm trying to get better with Emma Frost or Thing as a Vanguard, and I still have an aiming / skill issue, or whatever you want to call it. Same way goes for Invisible Girl and Luna Snow for support, and same way goes for when I play a duelist character, whether it's a hit scan or project. There are times when I execute my plays and perform terribly, and then I ask myself, am I overextending? Did I position myself in a bad spot? Do I stay back and protect my support? Do I flank or stay with my team? Do I lack gaming sense? Do I lack gaming awareness? I ask myself and other people these questions to be better at the game, obviously, and I want to learn as much as I can. Like, if there's one thing I learned is that each role has its own set of responsibilities and priorities, and each one of them can only do so much based on the game situation. The one thing I hate the most within Marvel Rivals community is the ego. I know that myself. No one wants to play with that one teammate that blames others and says, GG no heals, I only main Spider-Man. Normally, I don't report players because it's just a video game, but in this case, I had to. If anything, Marvel Rivals is the first game I ever played that I reported a player at all. And I don't know if this makes sense to any of you guys given what I said so far, but if you were to ask me which role is the hardest and which role is the easiest, I say Vanguard is the hardest role to perform, mainly due to the fact that your job is to push up, clear a path, protect your team while taking damage from the front. I say Strategist is the easiest role, but only to a certain extent, depending on the situation, mainly because you're providing as much healing you can give while providing other tactical supports such as crowd control or blinding, stuff like that. Meanwhile, you on the other hand are just simply trying to stay alive yourself as you're getting targeted by enemy divers. My respects for duelist players. I will say that duelist is the second hardest role, mainly due to the fact that it requires a lot of gaming sense and awareness. And playing a duelist has its own set of responsibilities, such as like taking out enemy flyers, protecting your supports when getting dived on, and switching to different characters when necessary, and the list goes on. However, it's all easier said than done when you'll always at some point get that one DPS that chooses to perform just for the kills and not for the objective. However, it's all easy said than done when you will always at some point get that one DPS that chooses to perform just for the kills and not the objective, or simply not performing as DPS should, if that makes sense to any of y'all, especially in a competitive match. Like, I'm not saying this to trash on duelist players, that's not my intention. Trust me, I do believe that duelists have a crucial role when it comes to fighting into team fights. I just want to simply point out that it's irritating that a lot of players out there, mostly duelists, had the audacity and ego to blame others, if that makes any sense. That is all my thoughts on this topic about Marvel Rivals. And of course, if you'd like to share your thoughts on this topic, comment down below and let me know. GG's.